We're talking today about godly communication. We're going to start out with our first thought, and we're going to be in both Mark chapter 12, verses 30 and 31, and James chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. We're going to focus on our first point in this, Mark chapter 12. But in James chapter 3, the Bible says, "But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruit, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace." Growing up, that was not my household. Growing up, that really wasn't my church. We were taught that you fought and you drove and you had to do something great for God. And in order to accomplish that, our spirits weren't always the best. In godly communication, the principle was you don't cuss and you watch your language. We didn't even use minced oaths. But I, growing up, saw in the church anger and wrath and malice and evil speaking against one another, bitterness and frustration amongst people. But as you study the Bible, you're going to find that it says a whole lot more about our attitude and our speech versus maybe even what we wear and how we dress. The Bible is really big on what our demeanor is and what our spirit is. So to start the foundation of our communication with others, it has to start with Mark chapter 12 and verse 30. The Bible says, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these." We see that my communication is best when it is in the right balance with God and man. You must first start your communication right with God. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy soul, with all thy strength. It's a powerful commandment. We can go all the way back to Deuteronomy and Moses says you can combine all the commandments down into one thing, and that's loving your God. You know, our communication starts with right communication with God. What is your communication with God like? I'm not talking that you have your prayer list and that you read through your prayer list every day. I'm talking, do you allow yourself to be led by the Spirit? Does He guide and direct your paths, your thoughts, your communication? You know, I love my God. And as I walk with Him, I see a few things that He does for me in that love relationship. The biggest thing He's done for me is He has forgiven me. You know, if we practice the forgiveness to others that God gives us, it's life-changing. I challenge you, one of the best ways to develop a dynamic love relationship with God is every day remember the cross. Walk in the cross. Think about the cross. Think of what God has done for you. And as you walk in that cross and you see the forgiveness that He's done for you, you'll be amazed at what's happened. Second thing is that He wrote you a letter. He wrote you a love letter. You have 66 books of that love letter. And walking in that word, meditating in that word, the Bible says you'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of water if you'll meditate in that word. So today, let's love our God. Let's get His letter out. Let's focus on that and saying, does my communication match up with my love relationship that I have with my God?